Hi, welcome to Tackle Tarts. First one of the session. Nice little mirror. We're on the canal again. I'm in the same spot as where James fishes, because there's a couple of guys in the spot that we were baiting down the other way. But yeah, he's a nice size mirror. I mean, they're not quite as good looking as the ones in Tanner's, but there's still probably a couple of nice fish in here. There's apparently a few doubles hanging around, so hopefully we'll be able to get ourselves into some of those. And James will be here in a few, maybe about half an hour maybe. But I'll just flip him around and show you the other side. Chunky fish these. I don't think they've been stocked long, these ones. They've been restocked recently, so it's blind in one eye, this fella, as well. So we'll get him back, and hopefully be able to get a couple more, and James will be able to get in on the act too. Right, pop him back. There we have it, second fish, and James still isn't here. This one's a bit smaller, this guy. Bit of a different colour, a bit more a yellowy belly rather than sort of whitish like the other one. But yeah, quite a lot of battle scars on these fish, even though they're only very young. Scars all over them. Don't know what they get up to. Right, so we'll get it back, and hopefully we'll be able to bag a couple more big ones. There he is, a third one. Little dumpy mirror again. About £3 maybe 4, with his little belly. Again, he's got quite a few abrasions and battle scars on him. A bit more on the other side, but still a nice fish. This one was on the margin rod. The other two were from the middle. And the other two were also on a pineapple pop-up. This was on a Super K pop-up that was chopped down to like the size of a pellet, and it was just fished over a few handfuls of chops and a couple of handfuls of pellets just over on the far margin behind me. But yeah, right, we'll get him back, and James should be here anytime soon, so hopefully he'll be setting up and kept bagging some canal carp like I am. Get him back. Right, I thought I'd take you through some canal sort of tips to do with your local canal, because pretty much everybody has got a canal local to them that they can go carp fishing on, and pretty much every canal has got some sort of carp in there of some description. This one's quite heavily stocked, well, this part of the canal is, because it's part of an angling club, so they stock it with the carp and all the other bream and everything. And I mean, when I used to fish it 8 years ago, that was the last time I caught a canal carp, and I've had 3 today. And in here, this was my favourite swim. I seem to remember this one. And me and my dad used to come up and we used to catch quite a few carp, up to about 8-pound-ish, but apparently now there's a few that are bigger than that now. But yeah, I'm just going to talk you through a few tips to do with just general canal fishing. Your canal's literally just like the margins of your lake, and then it'll go down. It's usually about, I said the margins on most canals are probably around 2 foot deep, and then as you go further out it might have a little slope on it, and then it'll have a big shelf and it'll drop severely down. And on this bit of canal it probably drops to about 6.5–7 foot probably, I reckon. Quite a long time till your lead hits the bottom, whereas at the other spot that we fished it was 3.5 foot, so it's very different, you know, each spot's very different. And you can either fish your rods in the channel in the middle, which is what I've done on one rod, and then on the other one I've got it on the shelf. So they've got two things going on, and it's in the margins, and the shelves are the biggest feature on any canal, especially this area, because it's so barren, there's no trees around or anything like that. So that's the only thing really you've got to fish to as a feature. And also a top tip is to use some sort of back lead. These are the Corda flying ones, because these don't come off as readily as the normal ones. That's pretty much the only reason why I use them, because it saves money. And also I use them as flying back leads anyway when I'm on Tanner's or the Royal George. It just pins the line down, and because the canal's like, it's 3 foot in the margins here, over where I've got my other rod, and then it'll drop down into 6.5, maybe 7. And and make sure you have your back lead in deeper or the same depth of water as you rig, otherwise your line will be just cutting across the water really tight anyway, and there'd be no point in actually using it. I just use it because the canal's so tight anyway, and the carp don't come into contact with your lines all the time. And also don't neglect, if your canal has got trees, especially at this time of year, they keep the carp warm, as well as boats. Keep your rigs tight to them, and I'm sure you'll be able to bag some carp from there too. In here there's quite a bit of, and also in the canal there's lots of snags, so you want to be using strong gear. At least, I would recommend at least £15 line if you're fishing in a really snaggy area. But you could get away with 12 or 10 in a less snaggy area like here. And then I'd recommend you using quite strong coated braided hook links rather than mono, because that's more abrasive resistant if it actually hits the snag. And all those tips combined should be bagging you lots and lots of carp from these canals, because there's loads of them, absolutely loads of carp in the canals, and they're often neglected and people don't fish for them. So they're not very riggy, and you should get loads if you go out and do a bit of pre-baiting like we've done already, or just come here doing what we've been doing today, just fishing like we normally do on Tanners, just on the canal, and it's just perfect really. So we'll see if we can get some more. James is here as cameraman, so hopefully we'll be getting some more soon. I'm just going to talk you through sort of the safety features that we use while we're fishing on the canal, especially like positioning of your rods and your net and your brolly and everything. My net is parallel to the water, well out of the way of the towpath so that cyclists and stuff don't drive over it. My rods are set nearly parallel, just off parallel, so the butts don't overhang onto the towpath, and people can just walk past them without knocking them and stuff like that. I've got my hooking mat, definitely an absolute must-have in any carp fishing situation, but especially here, because the towpath is so hard that the fish are just bleed into a bloody mess really. And then my brolly has been tucked back as far as I can get it, as close to the wall and the widest bit of grass that I could find, so that no one could actually knock into it. And you really don't want your rods or anything getting broke, so just make sure that they are away from the towpath, especially cyclists and things, and especially if you like rebaiting your rod or something, don't lie it across the towpath because they won't see it and they'll just crush it, and then you'll have to pay out for a new one, and you'll end up swearing at them and stuff like that, and then they'll get angry with you. Then you'll get angry more with them, and then you end up with having a scrap, and then you'll throw them in. So that's pretty much what happens. Right, so that's my safety tips, and hopefully next time you see me on camera, I'm going to have a fish. And, well, I'm going to have one, James isn't going to have one. Yeah. Right, so see you in a bit. Yep. And he's just going to drop it in, just in front of this tree, just off the marginal shelf. Little KD rig that he's just tied up with just a little pink cut down pop up, and he's just going to chuck some pellet round that, and hopefully bag us one. Come on, hurry up. Here. Thank you, darling. No problemo. Right. It's perfectly balanced, this rig. Isn't it? Yeah. Just can you see it? Yeah, that's better. And that's on a KD rig style. That's just going on. Mixing. Probably don't go as far as pellets. shining.
You should come a bit further.
Hmm?
Should come a bit further this time. There we go.
There we are. That's the best way of getting your bait in the margins. Come round the other side. And if you can, that is. There's a bridge on that lock there, so you can just come across. If you're fishing near a lock, best way. You know, or otherwise, dinghy.
Dinghy. A dinghy.
Dinghy. Or if you've got a bait boat, you could use that as well. That would be even better. Which I do have one, but I'm not bringing it up here. No chance.
I know. Right.
Right, the waves are lapping in now. The wind's picked up again, and we're going to be here for another hour. And the sun that was forecast hasn't happened. We've not had any more takes since James has got here. I reckon he's ruined the swim.
Sure.
So I'm just going to sign off and tackle Tarts for now, but hopefully we'll be able to get you another one and be able to sign off properly with that. But if we don't, then we'll see you next time. And I think we're going to be on the canal, the Royal George, or Tanners, so pretty much we don't actually know yet. We've not decided. So we'll see you next time wherever we are.